maybe we should get rid of the voting system altogether as it relates to the awards, because the current system has serious flaws. I'll talk more about my opinions on that in a moment. For now, let's hear from Hub Arkush, one of the 50 voters on the various AP official NFL postseason awards, including MVP, on Hub Arkush's position that he will not vote this year for Aaron Rodgers for most valuable player.
Do you have an MVP vote this year, Hub?
I do. Yeah, I'm one of the AP. There's 50 of us who vote, and I am one of us.
And did you reveal that you're not voting for Aaron Rodgers? Is that correct?
I did, yeah. I mean, I've been pretty consistent about that all year. I don't think you can be the biggest jerk in the league and punish your team and your organization, your fan base the way he did and be the most valuable player. Has he been the most valuable on the field? Yeah, you could make that argument, but I don't think he is clearly that much more valuable than Jonathan Taylor or Cooper Kupp or maybe even Tom Brady. And so from where I sit, the rest of it is why he's not going to be my choice. Do I think he's going to win it? Probably. You know, a lot of the voters don't approach it the same way that I do. Others do, who I've spoken to. But one of the ways we get to keep being voters is we're not allowed to say who we are voting for until after the award has been announced. I'm probably pushing the envelope by saying who I'm not voting for, but we're not really supposed to reveal our votes.
Are they supposed to? Are off-field things like vaccination status supposed to factor in, or are there no guidelines for that?
There's no guidelines. We are told to pick the guy who we think is the most valuable to his team, and I don't think it says anywhere, strictly on the field. Although I do think he hurt his team on the field, by the way he acted off the field. I mean, they're going to get the number one seed anyway. But what if the difference had come down to the Chiefs game, where he lied about being vaccinated and ended up not playing and they got beat. So I think all these things should be considerations. That's the way I look at it. He ruined the entire offseason for that football team. They were left in jeopardy. They had no idea what they were doing. A lot of the off the field stuff was wasted because he wasn't there. He tortured his fan base, and he's getting ready. He's already started doing it again.
Oh, so he couldn't have won the MVP before the season for you?
For me, no. Yeah, no. I just think that the way he's carried himself is inappropriate, and the vaccine thing just was one more, log on the fire, so to speak. I think he's a bad guy, and I don't think a bad guy can be the most valuable guy at the same time.
I hate that Hub Arkush is forcing me to do this, but I'm going to do it. Look, he is the MVP, and it's wrong. And I don't care whether it's Aaron Rodgers or anybody else. It's wrong to allow your personal opinions infect your assessment of a player's value to the football team on the field. It's just flat out wrong. And they should remove his vote. He hasn't voted yet. They don't vote until next week. The AP right now should remove his vote. He should not be voting. He has admitted. Now, there are plenty of others who shouldn't be voting, and there are plenty of others who probably think what Hub Arkush said out loud. He made the mistake of saying it out loud. He should not have a vote. He should not be voting for MVP. We now know that there's no way Aaron Rodgers is going to be the unanimous MVP. At best, it's going to be 49-1, although I do think there are others who probably feel the way Hub Arkush does and who won't vote for Aaron Rodgers. But look, my position was, if this keeps the Packers from being the one seed in the NFC because he missed the one game that they lost to the Chiefs, it takes care of itself in the wash, because then the Buccaneers are the one seed, for example, and Tom Brady's the MVP. For me, and I've been consistent all year, Chris, quarterback of the one seed in each conference, one of those guys is going to be the MVP, and it's going to be Aaron Rodgers. And if Brady and the Buccaneers were the one seed in the NFC, it would be Tom Brady. If it was the Bengals in the AFC, boy, there'd be a hell of a competition between Joe Burrow and Aaron Rodgers for MVP. And then you could have a reasonable debate on who's the most valuable to his team.
Right.
But Aaron Rodgers ultimately didn't cost his team anything. He did something he shouldn't have done. He missed a game that he shouldn't have missed, but he didn't cost his team anything because they still were the one seed. If they hadn't been the one seed, then the punishment is baked into the outcome. You can't say, well, he almost did, but he didn't. He didn't. And this crap about the offseason, look, anybody that doesn't like the way he conducted himself in the offseason, use your platforms to say, I don't like what he did to conduct himself. That's where the punishment comes from. People calling him out and saying he's being a big jerk. I think he can be a big jerk. I think he can be a guy who wants all the attention. And I think a lot of this stuff that's gone on over the course of the last year is about him just wanting to be the center of attention and the subject of what everyone's talking about. But I would never say I'm not going to make him the MVP because of it. That's asinine, Chris.
I'm shocked. Shocked. Absolutely, Hub Arkush should have no vote in this. None. It should be taken away. The stance is stupid. I'm sorry. There's been a lot worse people to win the MVP award in the NFL, in the history of the NFL. And I'm not going to name names, but there's been a lot worse people. A lot.
Come on.
Come on. What they've done in their real life. So that first take is so stupid just because you don't believe in a stance he made. That is horrible, Hub. I'm sorry. Vote should be taken away without a doubt. Okay, you can make – all right, I want to go through these. You can, he's been the most valuable. Yeah, you can make the argument that he's been the most valuable. Yeah, no, you definitely can. He's the most valuable to his football team. He's had a phenomenal year. He has. And to go into that, do you think the players on the team, on his own team, don't think he's the absolute man and think he's the like the greatest thing they've ever seen? So just because of what he did in the offseason had no effect on the play or the players on the field. This is about what you do on the field. And to get into the offseason stuff, listen, I don't like what Aaron Rodgers did with the vaccine stuff. I don't like all the stuff he's done. Has he turned me off, to a degree over the last years? Yes. I'm not going to lie. But the job is to evaluate what's being done on the field. That's absolutely ridiculous. And, the offseason problems that Hub's talking about, you could easily make the case that was Green Bay and the organization's fault. You can't even sit here and definitively just go, oh, that was Rodgers and his fault. No, you and I know both enough facts about the situation behind the scenes that Green Bay is every bit at fault for that situation as much as Aaron Rodgers, if not more. So that's where I just look at it and just think it's absolutely ridiculous. You don't go there. And the vaccine thing, the NFL knew about it. That's their fault for not. I don't like that he lied, but still that has nothing to do with the play on the football field. That absolutely does not. He's the MVP of football. Hub Arkush should not have a vote for this anymore. That should be taken away from him for the rest of his life because he has shown that he's not capable of getting bias or personal feelings out of a situation to vote what the award was intended for, which are players on the field, play on the field. And I think he's totally off base and really unprofessional and really a stupid take and comment by him. I got no other way to say it.
He has been drawing plenty of criticism from people inside the NFL community, and rightfully so. And there are problems. There are flaws with the AP voting process.
Yes.
And I know that me saying that will probably further ensure that I'll never have one of the votes. And as much as I can truthfully say I don't want a Hall of Fame vote, I do want an AP vote. And I think that it is, frankly, a travesty that I don't have one yet. And this is one of the rare occasions when I will let the facade down and tell you what I really believe about myself. I don't know what else I need to do to show that I know the sport, I cover the sport, I live the sport, I breathe the sport, I eat the sport, I poop the sport. I should have one of the 50 votes. And I'll take Hub Arkush's if they take it. I'll gladly take it. But when I see the list from time to time of the 50 people, there have been occasions, Chris, where there is no one out there that can say they follow the sport more closely than I do.
Right.
Maybe they follow it as closely. I guarantee you there is no one who can say that they follow it more closely than I do every day of the year for 20 years. I've seen names on that list before where my reaction was, who the hell is that person?
Yeah, right.
Who is that? I've never heard of this person before.
Right.
How could someone that the one person who follows the NFL as closely as anyone, and there may be others who follow it as closely, but I'm in a tie for first, however many others are in there, how could someone that I've never heard of have one of the votes? And I'll see other names on there, people I know, people I'm acquainted with, people who may not be fully employed to cover an NFL team or underemployed or maybe just cover one team when there's 32 of them out there. There's a lot of people. And when you only have 50 names who have those votes, it makes it even more critical that you get the right 50. If you're not going to have the right 50, expand the pool to 100. Expand the pool to 200. And when you have biases like this creeping in, you need more votes to dilute the opinions of the people who are going to cast their ballots for the wrong reason. So there's a lot of flaws with the AP
100%.
system. No guidelines. No guidelines is another one. There are no guidelines.
Yeah.
Comeback player of the year. Nobody knows what that even means. MVP. Is it to the team? Is it to the league? Hub Arkush said at one point it's most valuable to his team. I don't even think they give you that distinction. Most valuable to the league, most valuable to the team, most valuable to this. I know, but they don't tell you. You just cast the vote. But you definitely don't cast the vote based upon the fact that you think the guy's a jerk.
Yeah.
That should not be one of your factors.
No. And I mean, most valuable to his team. I mean, Hub, I want to go. I don't know what the hell you're looking at, man. You should maybe have your vote taken away because you don't even, maybe your eyes don't work. You might not be even. Are you watching football? I mean, what? I mean, yes, he missed a game that could have cost him because of the vaccine thing. Also, though, within that game, we saw how valuable he was. I mean, their offense hasn't really been stopped all year. That game, they couldn't move the ball. They couldn't do anything. They're as dependent on their quarterback as any organization I've ever seen in my football life. That's why I always say Aaron Rodgers is the greatest quarterback I've ever seen. I mean, it's if him and Devontae Adams don't pull them through, they can't win games. I mean, yeah, it's a good defense. It's not great. It's a good running game. It's not great. There's nothing. It's Rodgers, Devontae Adams. It's all about that. It's absolutely nonsense that he has gone this route with this conversation. Totally off base. And, yeah, I have issues with that too, Mike. I do. Great power that goes into this. You know, the great power for 50 media people to be able to basically, you know, dictate people's future lives. Really, that's what this is too. Because once you're an NFL MVP, I mean, you're going to be able to sign autographs and get money for the rest of your life. It's unbelievable that some of these people that you're right, that I don't feel like are qualified, have the power to make this vote. And I know there's a lot that are qualified. I'm certainly not. But, you know, again, what goes into these qualifications? I can read and write. I don't get to vote on the Writers' Hall of Fame. In fact, I bet you I can read and write better than a lot of these guys know football, but they get to vote on football. I don't understand that. Doesn't make sense to me. And I know I sound like a jerk a little bit, but I don't like what he said, and it really bothers me.
It's good that it's not just me for a change. There's 2 points I want to make. One, when you have this vote, it's not just the MVP vote. He has a vote on every AP award that comes out. And we'll see the All-Pro team, which is critical to incentives in contracts. I mean, once you admit that you are allowing improper factors to poison your assessment of who gets what award, we have to assume that improper factors will poison other votes and not just MVP. Is he going to give somebody that he likes an MVP vote over somebody that he doesn't like? Or not MVP, but I mean an all-pro vote. Is he going to make his decisions based upon an assessment of who the best players are or who are the players that he likes the most? It's all of the other awards too. Coach of the Year, Comeback Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year. And the other point too is this, Chris. 10 years or so ago, the NFL decided to make these AP awards basically the official NFL awards that are handed out at the postseason honors event that's now televised. This year it's going to be televised on Thursday night in advance of the Super Bowl. So at some level, the league has an interest in making sure that the AP's process is better.
Right.
And at some point, the league has to say, and the league's on notice now, that there is a corrupt mindset for one of the 50 voters. 2% of the entire voting block has admitted that he's not going to cast a ballot for the proper MVP for reasons unrelated to his performance on the field. The NFL should be calling the AP today. They should be getting Barry Wilner on the phone and saying, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You want us to attach the shield to these awards and people like this are going to have a vote? It'll be interesting to see what the AP does. And I know that me saying these things is not going to make it any more likely that I get one of the votes that I think I deserve, but I don't care because it just shows you that there's a problem with the system, because I frankly believe that one of the reasons I don't have a vote is I've been outspoken about the AP in the past, whether it's the awards, whether it's other things. And so, you know, you're not going to give the guy a vote that they think is a jerk. So now we know why Hub Arkush has a vote. They're not handing out the votes based on merit, and so you get voters who make their votes based on things other than merit. So I guess I've answered my own question.
Yeah.
I don't expect the invitation to join the panel anytime soon. if ever.
Well, no, well, that's why I love you, man. You keep it real there. You do, and you should have a vote. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But again, yes, this is dangerous territory here to me. I mean, again, this is about what you do on the field, not about whether you personally like it or not. And then to argue, again, Jonathan Taylor, Cooper Kupp, great years. Oh, but now we're going to talk like the quarterback's not important. Oh, okay. For a guy that, again, is going to bring a team, to a 14-3 record and has the ball in his hands way more than a Jonathan Taylor or Cooper Kupp, and is playing like one of the most efficient seasons at the quarterback position we've ever seen in the history of the sport. And, the run he's gone on since after the first game is unreal. I don't like a lot of the things he did this year. It means nothing. You have to be able to block that out in this process. And again, like I've said, we can go through the history of some of these award winners, and I could go, really? You think he's a worse guy than this guy or that guy? Just because why? And then a lot of these things, like, the public doesn't know. So that's where it's really off base and really unprofessional. And I hope his vote gets taken away. I really do.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.